Hey y'all, this is the Bayou Mystic again. This is my fourth video of I'm Just Saying. And so we're going to talk about the retrograde situation of the year, Cardi B and TashaK. And we're also going to talk about some Whoopi Goldberg. But let's talk about Cardi B and TashaK first. So I just want to start by saying if you think and if you take joy in the fact that TashaK lost her case for tattletelling, for I would not tattletelling, for basically fibbing. That's what word I was looking for basically fibbing, telling little white lies. However you want to see that shit. If you take joy in that and also think that the money that is involved in this that she has to pay, that her black ass can't afford that shit, you're anti-black as fuck. And this is why I think that. Now, Cardi B has been out for a hot minute. And the moment she got out here, it was nothing but drama. Nothing but drama. And a lot of things have been brought up when it comes to her saying the N-word, when it comes to like what her, I guess, racial background is and everything. And a majority of people, the black community, has already said that Cardi B isn't black. Like, we have unanimously agreed that Cardi B is not one of us. But the moment Cardi B decides to go head to head with one of us that is a dark skin, definitely her features are Afrocentric. Her hair is not of the standard lace front that everyone likes us to wear. Like, TashaK is a dark skinned, beautiful, you ain't about to bully me for shit woman. And the backlash, the death wishes, the I hope, your life, your YouTube page comes down. I hope your life just crumbles at the roots, at the foundation. Like, that's anti-black as fuck. And to me, number one, it shows you that you don't know how legal payments work when it comes to somebody getting a reward for something. And number two, you automatically believe that because Cardi is stunting for the gram, is decked out in probably fake ass jewelry, because we already know rappers are notorious, and it don't matter if you're a man or a woman. Rappers, Insta people, even YouTubers, anybody on social media that's claiming that they got it and stunting that, 9 times out of 10 they don't got it. They either Airbnb in it, they bedazzling some type of chain and calling it diamonds, they are renting and leasing, Ferraris and all this type of shit like that, and they don't genuinely got it like that. But somebody like a Cardi B, keep that in mind. And then you look at TashaK and you think that she don't have it. You don't have no reason for thinking that she don't have it. It's not like she's like this 10K person, or she got like 100 subscribers and everything. Even though, yes, the number of subscribers you have does not mean you're getting paid. Just because she has 1 million subscribers doesn't mean she's getting paid $1 million. Of course, we know how that works. But let's not sit up here and pretend like the money that she has received, the sponsors that she has gotten, let's not sit up here and pretend that she is incapable of being smart enough to flip that shit and double it or triple it or quadruple it or 10 times that shit. And it's like, just because TashaK not sitting up here stunting, and also we all know that she's married, it doesn't think people don't think there's a possibility that her husband got bank. She always talking about how he's, an African Nigerian guy. They're notorious for being successful people in this country. Like, let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. And with success does come money. So when you put those two things together and understanding that financial rewards in the court system, you have to, either you have the option to pay in full, or either you have the option to pay that in lump sums or whatever. You have the option to basically do a federal payment plan. I don't fucking know what you would like call it, but it is possible for her to pay this money off and not be broken from it. And to hear people that, like, I definitely fucked with on YouTube, to, like, see people's comments and everything like that, I'm like, y'all really hate yourself as black people. That y'all will sit up here and you will sit behind people who do harmful ass shit, like actual physical harm to other people. But the moment somebody lies, y'all want to be like fake moral. Y'all want to be like fake Christians on some real shit. That's the same thing as having premarital sex. And then once the baby comes and you realize it's not going to be what you thought it was, the option of abortion, you a Christian now. But you were sitting up here being all kinds of sinful with a smile on your face when you was throwing that ass in a circle to somebody who is not your husband, to somebody who did not commit to you. And I feel like it's the same ass behavior from our community, that we don't sit up here and what's that phrase I'm looking for? We don't sit up here and do as we say and say as we do. And I'm like, that shit gotta stop. It's so disgusting that, like, we get on public platforms and, like, we just eat each other the fuck up for no fucking reason. Like, this is a case that honestly had nothing to do with other people. And let's not sit up here and act like every single one of those YouTubers aren't speculating on something that's 9 times out of 10 not true. These commentators that are sitting up here being like, my source, my source, my source. And they're not just sitting up here giving opinions like other commentators do. Let's not act like that they won't be subjected to the same ass whooping that TashaK got. Because nobody really knows what's going on in these people's lives. And nobody... I doubt that all of these people have actual real sources. So while y'all kiki and, cackling and cutting the fuck up and getting belly laughs until your stomach hurt over TashaK losing this shit, like, you could be next. It's all about censorship. And, like, yes, I do think that when she got that cease and desist, that she should have definitely, gave it up. But at the end of the day, like, she chose to fight that shit how she wanted to fight it. And that is her right as an American. I'm gonna get serious about this shit. That is her right as an American to fight this shit in court if she wanted to. Like, we like to talk about fight the power, but then you want to back up when somebody sends you a cease and desist, and you want to hold somebody's feet to the fire when they choose, well, fuck that shit, I'm gonna fight it in court. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, and I got the right as an American to fight that shit in court whether I win or lose. And it's just like, to me, with that whole TashaK thing, it's kind of like when you get in a fight with somebody that's bigger than you, and you're just like, hey, like, I may lose, but I'm not gonna go down without a fight. And that's what she did. And it's like, everybody's like, the mitigated gall of this dark-skinned, black-ass woman to just be sitting up here exercising her right as an American to fight this shit out in court. How dare you think you're right and try to prove that you're right? If we tell you to do something, you fucking do it. And it's just like, it's really not that serious. Like, not to the public. Not to the public. Like, I was listening to, like, one YouTuber, and it's like, they right. People be lying every fucking day. Every fucking day. I'm pretty sure before you saw this video, you lied to somebody to their face and probably with a smile on your face. Should you go to court for that? Should you have to pay $4 million for that shit? You probably lied on somebody because you don't like them and you wanted to see them not have the best time. So it's just like, let's stop pretending that we're all good people here. All of us are good people that do bad shit. And TashaK was a good person that did some bad shit. Oh well. So that's my opinion on that TashaK shit. Now when it comes to Whoopi Goldberg, I wrote some shit down for this. So when it comes to Whoopi Goldberg, we are going to, we are going to play a video of what she said exactly. And I'm not going to show the video. I'm just going to play a recording.
Drama? Not enough to make a comment about it here. Oh, I feel you on that. Don't worry. We're going to catch you up right now. Let's start with tonight's hot topic, Whoopi suspension.
The Holocaust isn't about race. You all saw the news? The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg suspended for 2 weeks. Whoopi will be back here in 2 weeks.
Joy Behar stepped in as moderator today, giving Whoopi's suspension just a 7-second mention before moving on. ET has obtained this letter sent last night to staffers from the president of ABC News, announcing the suspension and revealing that Whoopi was asked to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. After making the false Holocaust statement, Whoopi spent the next 24 hours in damage control mode, but seemed to double down on Colbert.
I don't want to fake apologize. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. They had to delve deeply to figure it out. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know and y'all know, because I've always done that. It is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race.
Former co-host Meghan McCain called Whoopi's comments deeply offensive, adding, quote, Whoopi has said a slew of insanely controversial things over the course of her tenure at The View.
She's the queen of the castle there.
This morning on her podcast, former View host Michelle Collins speculated Whoopi was okay with the suspension.
Part of me wonders if she sort of sacrificed herself, if she maybe felt like this is what's going to take the heat off the show.
Are you ready to get back in the studio?
No.
We talked to Whoopi twice last year, at home and back in the studio, where she was grateful for her job at The View.
Not everybody gets to have an opinion. Not everybody gets to say, this is what I think and here's why. This is a really great job.
Kanye West.
Now, one thing I have to say before we talk about this, Meghan McCain can shut the fuck up, because she has said some wildly fucked up and problematic shit when it comes to not Black Lives Matter, the organization. I'm not even going to touch that shit or whatever, but like just the whole police brutality thing. She has said some pretty white privilege ass shit about that, and she has nerve enough to call her out when she apologized about it. But anyways, let's move on. The privilege, the caucasity, I think that's what she's saying, or whatever. So with this whole Whoopi Goldberg thing, I think that she was both correct, and I think she was correctly reckless when saying that, because everybody and their mama know that you can't really go around saying any fucking thing about, you know, Jewish people and the Holocaust. That's like going around saying shit about black people and slavery. Like, and that's like slavery anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. You know, like, you just can't go around just saying shit and making assumptions and acting like you correct about shit. And yeah, like, you may be a part of this community. Like, I heard that she had, you know, I think all 3 of her husbands were Jewish. She had a child with a Jewish man. And it's like, so, like, you can't take what is, I guess, historically known when you have a group of people who know this shit through, like, oral tradition. Like how black people in America, everybody likes to tell black people in America what slavery was to them. When we have been told orally, we have seen pictures in our own family of people that we know, even 4 generations ago, that was slaves or daughters or sons or granddaughters and grandsons of people who were imprisoned, enslaved, real life. So I feel like it's the same thing when it comes to the Holocaust. And I feel like, yes, the suspension was, I feel like it was the fucking most. But at the same time, like, this is her job. You can't expect to say just anything, especially as a black person, and think that just because you're black, they're not going to touch you. They're going to use you as an example more than anyone. I don't remember the whole time watching The View when Meghan McCain would say insensitive ass shit pertaining to police brutality, black people in America fighting for their fair treatment when it comes to social interactions and everything like that. I've never seen her having to leave the show, or even it being announced, or even her apologizing and then leaving the show because effective immediately, you're out of here. So with Whoopi Goldberg, I am not going to make this a big deal because at the end of the day, this is the same woman that basically told Monique that whatever the system wanted you to do, you should have did it. And since you didn't do it, everything that happened afterwards was your fault. That the fact that you weren't willing to work for free, that was your fault. And everything that happened that trickled down after that, it's as if she had no sympathy for her. And I'm not going to sit up here, once again, pretend to have sympathy for that. I'm like, I personally think that Whoopi Goldberg should quit. I think that she should quit, especially if she feels embarrassed, if she feels like they did too much. I feel like she should quit if she feels that way, because I know I would. Ain't enough money in the world for you to have me out here looking like a fool when I have already humbled myself to acknowledge that other people's feelings were hurt by this. And we also can't pretend that there are Jewish people out here who are Caucasian, who are Anglo. And I know that's what she was getting at when it came to the book Mouse. And I think it was To Kill a Mockingbird. She was comparing those books, and she was basically saying that, like, these people, like, in this country, from our perspective, if you do not look black, you are white. If you do not look white, then you are black. And then everything in between comes when we have more conversation about it later or whatever. But it's just like, what she was saying is that Jewish people that were in Germany, the Holocaust, it really did not matter about the white Jewish people. Like, I wouldn't say it did not matter, but yeah, I think it didn't matter that the Jewish people were white. Like, they were Jewish. So it's like, yeah, you have black Jewish people. So what are you going to say about that? And then also in the Holocaust, Hitler was helping Mussolini fuck up North Africa and Ethiopia. That was another genocide that was racially based. Because you cannot confuse these people with the people that look like them. And I feel like Whoopi Goldberg, she was onto something, but she didn't quite get there, if that makes sense. And it's like, it's true that the Jewish people are, I guess I would say, their own phenotype. They have curly hair. Some of them are notorious for being redheads and everything. That's something new that I saw or whatever. They're notorious for having curly hair, certain kind of, facial features, so you can tell the difference and everything like that. And it's just like, yes, like, white Jewish people may be just a little bit different than other white people. Just like Irish people are a little bit different. Just like Spanish people from Spain are a little bit different. Italians are a little bit different than everybody else on, you know, the area of Europe and everything like that. But I just feel like it was kind of sometimes how like black people act on social media, where it's just like, that was kind of the most when it came to your reaction. And especially if somebody apologizes, let's stop this whole behavior where we want people to grovel on the floor, you know? Like, especially when it comes to something that, you know, the person was halfway there about and did not really get their thought 100% through. Because in America, it's all about race, whether you like that shit or not. And what she was getting at, from what I could understand, is that in America, Jewish people just look white. Like, you literally have to tell somebody that looks like me, like, I'm Jewish, because I'm automatically going to think you're white. And that's just the perspective from a black person. And you can't condemn me from my perspective. You can't do that. Like, that is not within your power to sit up here and think that you can correct. If I'm a black person and I am judged on my phenotype, and I have to pick between a Christian white and, you know, like a Jewish white person, then I'm going to think you're the same until you open your mouth and say something. But from my perspective, it's not a matter of me opening my mouth and saying something. It's a matter of the person looking at me and being like, okay, I know what the fuck you are and how the fuck I'm going to treat you. It's not necessarily the same way. You know what I mean? And let's not act like, you know, we don't have white Jewish people that are racist against black Jewish people, probably until they know they're Jewish. So it's just like, if we're going to open the door for conversation, let's have conversation all the way around. And if we're going to sit up here and be educating white people on blackness and what's correct and what's not correct, and, you know, when it's not okay to say nigger, and when it's not, like this whole thing with India Irie. I feel like when I compare these two issues, Jewish people just don't have time for the bullshit and the ignorance, and black people got time for the bullshit and the ignorance. And I feel like what we really should be mad at is us being more forgiving. Us not putting pressure on people to be like, you better watch what the fuck you say, and every time you say something stupid, we're gonna fucking get you. I feel like us as black people should not want to sit up here, especially using this Whoopi Goldberg situation as an example. We should not want to sit up here and be able to get away with murder because somebody else got away with murder. How about we just don't murder people? Using it as an example. We can't get away with racially charged issues or ethnically charged issues, should I say, because other people get to get away with it. We don't want to become the monsters that we are currently fighting. And that's all I gotta say. So if Whoopi Goldberg's punishment for that comment she made, for that point that she didn't 100% articulate correctly on exactly what she meant and exactly what she wanted to say when it came to how Americans look at race and how back then Germans looked at race, like, then that's just the punishment that she gets. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and, you know, continuously fight a fight, number one, for some person that doesn't want to fight, and number two, for like a situation to where it's just like, if we're gonna use this as an example, let's not sit up here and compare this shit to, you know, they got away with this shit, so I should get away with it. How about I can't get away with this shit, so they shouldn't be able to get away with it either? So, yeah, that's how I feel about TashaK and Cardi B. The TashaK and Cardi B situation, it just showed me, like, off top, like, it was just Cardi B's stupidity. Not stupidity, I guess you say, but it was just Cardi B's karma for the whole Nicki Minaj situation, because she opened up that can of worms for people to trash her. And for the whole TashaK thing, like, it was just her stupidity. Like, you should have answered that cease and desist. But if you wanted to fight this shit in court, that's your right. If you wanted to prove that you were correct and you did not have to stop saying what you wanted to say on First Amendment right, then that's your right to do so. And with Whoopi Goldberg, like, okay, I guess that happened to you. I guess so. And for somebody who has been so involved and, like, deeply entrenched in the Jewish culture, you should have known better. That's all I have to say. Like, you really should have known better. And that's the same thing to where it's just like, it's like, oh, I have a black wife or a black husband and black children. Then you should have known better before you said some dumbass shit about black people. Like, you should have known better. In a perfect world, that should have cured you of your racism. But that's not always the case. So, yeah, like and subscribe to the Bayou Mystic. And, you know, tell me what you think about these situations, about all three of these people, about Cardi B and winning her case, TashaK losing her case, and Whoopi Goldberg getting suspended. Bye.